And so I would like to bring up a motion just that it would be to instruct Dawn to file a disciplinary complaint against the entity that Mike talked about last week. So I'd ask the chairman to accept that motion.
Wait, back up.
You gotta name the entity.
A disciplinary complaint that says what?
We would have filed a disciplinary complaint against the entity that Mike talked about last week.
What entity?
Yeah.
So that's to be determined, or could you help me out? Is that the correct phrase that I should be using for that? President?
Right, so I think the issue was raised regarding a prior attorney and or a law firm
Correct.
by a resident last week. And that's what
Right.
you're referring to.
So without stating the attorney or the entity?
Wait, back up.
group.
Back up. We've done it.
When did it finish
Go
there?
on.
So without stating the attorney or the group that still needs investigated, the idea is to file a disciplinary complaint against that entity. The idea that's, well, that's the motion.
Wait, can I ask?
Well, we leave that.
What would the disciplinary complaint say?
If we need a second, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Why wasn't this on the agenda?
Wait,
Is
hold
there a
on.
second to that motion?
Second.
Wait, what would the
Now we can
disciplinary,
have discussion.
what would the disciplinary complaint say?
Pardon?
We will.
What would the disciplinary complaint say?
So the idea is that you cannot have an entity that sets the law and develops our codes and then come back later on and attack those very codes.
How do you know that he
Can I
attacks
please-
it?
can I
Wait,
please-
hold on. How do you know that he attacked those codes?
We don't, that's why I'm saying the entity.
But what Mr. Monaco is saying is that because his.
Excuse me.
phone number
Yeah,
was on-
Excuse me.
Wait,
If you're
hold
gonna
on.
quote me, I need to talk.
Mike, no, she has the floor. Who gets
You
the
can,
floor?
no, Mike, I'm happy to hear what you have to say. I just want, what you said at the last meeting was that,
Wasn't allowed to talk at the last meeting, but go ahead.
what I understand you were saying was that you, that his phone number was on the, form that was filed, or the suit that was filed against Range, correct?
There was two actions in front of two boards, I believe, that referenced his phone numbers. So the question is, how did they get there? Why did they get there?
Okay.
The question has to be addressed.
Let me ask you this question. Where did you get that,
It's on the complaint.
I know, but where did you get a copy of the complaint?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Where did
I
you
was
get
here.
a copy of? yeah.
On one of them, I listened to it. I had the complaint.
Okay, where did you get a copy of the other complaint? My point is this.
Your point is misleading. My point is, we have people in this township that's been going on for 7, 8, 10 years. They've been influencing the decisions that this board has made based on their professional opinion, and they've been doing it underhandedly. And they're doing it now. And my issue has been, they're not elected officials, they're professionals,
Right.
and now they're addressing both sides of the argument,
But let me.
which is a professional misconduct.
Right. Assuming that's what happened. But please understand that those documents that have been filed in the past are public. Anybody can go to the courthouse, can download them online.
Okay.
So who's not to say that the lawyer took a copy of it, edited it, something that John Smith had written? We have to walk a fine
Can I address
line.
that?
Wait,
Can we
hold on.
address that?
Yeah, I let you talk, and then yes, I will be happy here. We have to walk a fine line. We don't know for sure that that's what happened. We are opening this board up and this municipality up to a very serious lawsuit if that is
You're
what
preaching to
happened.
me. I'm going to address your age. Okay, that's what I wanted to do last meeting. I just need to know what the answer is, because I disagree with you. If that's true, then there was some interference with that file. So if John wants to come in here and make that comment,
So
but
before,
right now, the question or the answer last week was he's not here to defend himself.
But
He's a
Miss-
citizen. He can come down and talk anytime he likes.
Mr. Monaco, can I ask though, Mr. Chairman, did anybody from this board let Mr. Smith know that this was brought up?
I don't know.
Why?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, so that's my, hold on.
I'm here addressing this
Hold on.
board and asking why
Hold on.
they allow documents filed in cases
So he's-
that has his number associated with somebody else's file.
Okay.
And I hear this argument about he can go copy somebody else's file. That's unethical, right there.
Well,
It's not
Mike,
fair
it's
to
not- Mike,
Wait,
we didn't allow anything. If an
I'm
attorney-
not saying you did,
Okay,
Paul.
we
I'm
did.
just
But
saying
here's what
that
I'm gonna say.
argument can be made and let him address it.
So let's let Mr. Smith address it before we file a
Oh, but you
disciplinary
have to do
complaint.
that. That's the only way you can address it.
No, we can ask
you
him. No, we can write him a letter and ask him or something like that. Before we,
He's a professional. He
I
has his
really
legal conduct.
discourage this board from filing a disciplinary complaint
have you
and
done
opening
before?
us up to a huge lawsuit.
I can ask you, do I have the floor?
You do not, go ahead.
Okay. He has to address the issues of professional rules and professional conduct. That's what he has to do. You have to request him to do that.
No one.
He ain't gonna show up and spill his guts to you because you asked him. That's not how it works. It's a professional license. Ask anybody who's got a professional license.
I really
And-
discourage
And
you
it-
from
and
doing
part of the
that.
conversation, it wouldn't be
In
us asking
retaliation.
the question, it would be the panel asking it.
I really
They have the
discourage
determination of not
That's exactly
pursuing
right.
it, or they can pursue it. And if they find our
And it wouldn't
complaint
be
valid, and
It would not be
my,
a public hearing.
that's right,
It
my,
would be behind doors. It's addressed directly to him based on the rules that they understand.
By
Right.
filing a disciplinary complaint, you are defaming him.
No, that's untrue.
It
That's
is true.
completely-
You are
That's not
saying,
true.
I
That's not
guarantee that this township and this board
I'm not
is
gonna argue.
sued.
you guarantee it?
I guarantee
I'm not
it.
gonna argue.
His motion is to ask them to look into it.
That's right.
That's what he's asking. He's not accusing of anything.
He is
It was
accusing.
brought up at our public meeting. He has right, he made a motion to ask, your turn. And that was his motion to have the person who, or the group who would look into it would be the disciplinary board.
And I believe you've addressed it exactly the way it should be. That's my argument. There should be a motion exactly the way you did.
Anybody else on the board first? Just wait a minute. Anybody else want to comment on the board? Frank or Elizabeth?
I reserve the right to respond to what other residents say.
Well, no, yeah, I'm just asking the board
I-
members for, wait.
Wait, you just asked if we can
All right.
talk.
Yes.
Anybody else? There are so many things that need to be done in this municipality. So many things. And we waste time and money over and over again fighting stupid things. We will get sued. There is not a doubt in my mind that this board will get sued by Mr. Smith, and rightly so, because you're making a claim that you've never given him the opportunity to defend. I'm just saying, if you want your streets paved, and you want your garbage price lower, and you want the park done and the tennis courts done, we're gonna waste money paying our solicitor and paying, how many thousands of dollars to defend a lawsuit. I'm just saying, I wanna go on the record as saying.
You are on record.
Your comment was all.
It was.
Anybody else? Go ahead, you can have the floor.
I find it disgusting that you would address this issue without putting it on the agenda first. If this is something that you feel needed to be discussed and voted on by this board, then you should have put it on the agenda first, so that the parties involved would at least have the opportunity to come down and say anything. And as a party involved, as considering the fact that I'm the one who hired the attorney who filed all the paperwork, I cannot believe that first of all, let me just say that I tried to hire John Smith. He was the first phone call I've made because he's got a lot of experience in oil and gas. He was one of the first calls I made. You know what he told me? He said, Michelle, I wish I could help you out, but I can't. It's a conflict of interest for me and I can't do it. I'm sorry, I can recommend a couple of people, but I can't help you out. And this guy that I hired has no idea about, him and John Smith don't even know each other. So the fact that you would even entertain the idea to waste money is
It does not cost any money, if I may address you, it does not cost any money to file.
And you think that John Smith is going to defend himself and come back and,
I don't know, but I believe that
but you'd be
when
willing to
we
open
have
yourself up to that?
you know what, if you're trying to sway the board to vote a certain way, then please speak to all of them.
Okay,
I still feel just strongly that if we have a professional and we hire a professional, that they should do the best work possible and not come back and try to challenge that work that they did for Cecil Township.
Sure, okay, well then I feel strongly that if you want to bring a motion up to the front of the board, then put it on the agenda.
Wait, time
This
out.
is-
Wait, time out. Back up a second.
Excuse me,
So,
Mr. Chairman, was it okay to talk about this issue right now?
That's
As far as,
it's your new
Mr.
business.
Sim-
But you're putting a vote, you're putting it to a vote.
Wait, so are we filing a motion because the assumption is that he helped Michelle's attorney, or are we filing a motion?
has nothing to do with,
Or are we filing disciplinary action? I want to understand, because what you just said is we want to file a disciplinary action because he worked in this municipality and then he came back and is fighting what we have in place. Is that what you're saying? Yes? Just so I understand what you're saying.
the motion is to instruct Dawn to file a disciplinary complaint against the entity. The so-called entity that we don't know the details, we don't know the specifics. It's not going to cost any money. Maybe we could find out the answer of why that's the same
Eric,
phone
what are we
number.
filing a disciplinary complaint about?
Because my lawyer has.
Against the entity that showed up and it is challenging our ordinance.
But wait a second.
The same ordinance that was created by,
Wow, wait,
You're
hold on, please. While he was on this board, while he was still solicitor here, he held a meeting and did a PowerPoint presentation to advise this board that our current oil and gas ordinance was illegal. In public, he did that. So how can you then go back and file a disciplinary action and say that he's fighting against it? He advised this board that what we had was illegal.
that can all be sorted out. So you're just saying that you're not going to vote against it. We understand. I want to hear the other.
No, I want the public to understand, what are we voting on? Are we voting on the fact that Mr. Monaco thinks that her attorney, Michelle's attorney, used Mr. Smith, or are we voting on the fact that he's opposed to our oil and gas ordinance? Those are two very different things.
And do you understand that?
They're not mutually exclusive.
What?
They're not mutually exclusive.
But he already said, he did that in public.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. He did a PowerPoint presentation for this board. Yes, he did. I will swear on my children's life. He did a PowerPoint presentation.
That's real dramatic.
for
But the fact of the matter is, he wrote the ordinance. He got it
He
approved.
wrote the ordinance, the law changed, he came back and said, the law has changed, you were in violation of the law, you need to amend your ordinance, to which this board never did. So what's the issue?
Then the issue is let him argue that.
I just have a question. How do you think that every other case in the United States of America is based? When something goes to the Supreme Court, you know what they do? They look at case law. Every single attorney in the world.
That's why I'm not an attorney.
Looks at case law.
I
So
agree
the
with
fact
you.
that
Then
my
have the
attorney-
disciplinary
excuse me,
board.
I am speaking.
Not to me, you ain't. Take control of this woman, please. She ain't talking to me.
Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, all I know is that if you want to look at any other thing in the United States of America, they
Tom,
use prior case law.
you gotta
Prior
do
case law
something,
includes
buddy.
cases by John Smith. Yeah, thank you. I do
You
have a
have
right
to
to
address
speak.
it to me.
Well, you're up here talking about something that has to do with my case, and it involves me personally. So I have every right to speak to you.
If there are, do you have anything else? Do you,
I
ma'am?
highly recommend that you vote against this tonight. And put it to a public vote next month if it's that important, and put it on the agenda.
All right.
Otherwise, I think you're in a world of trouble. And if by this entity you speak of, I need to know whether or not you intend to investigate John Smith or my attorney.
Okay,
I would like an answer from anyone.
very well.
I have no
Mr.
idea,
Chairman.
because clearly the rest of the board knew about this and I didn't.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, I believe that maybe we should take this matter into executive session and talk about it, or maybe speak with our own in-house counsel after this meeting. So I would amend that motion, and let's take it to executive session.
So you can't
Discuss it
answer my
there.
question of whether or not you're going to put my attorney in this
We don't
area?
need a motion to call for an executive session, so we'll do that after.
All right.
Richard, can you stay?
Yes.
Okay.
So my question has been answered?
Not yet.
Can I ask?